Joining us now are Nick Ackerman, former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. He also served as an assistant special Watergate prosecutor, is now a partner at Dorsey and Whitney. Also with us, Peter Baker, chief White House correspondent for the New York Times and an MSNBC political analyst, and David Frum, senior editor for The Atlantic. Nick Ackerman, the future of the tapes, let's pretend for a moment that they exist. They will be subpoenaed.
I have no doubt that they will be subpoenaed. They absolutely should be. In fact, I'd be surprised if Mr. Mueller hasn't done that already.
And if this president tries to fight it in court, we have a case law here that indicates he will lose.
U.S. v. Nixon,
yeah.
Right on the money, couldn't be more on point.
Right.
Gone. End of case.
But he can try to chase the case to an appellate level, possibly. But there will come a day when there would be, if he tries to fight this in court, where there will be a judicial order ordering the president to turn this over. And my point here is this president is unpredictable in that moment. We have a president who we don't know what he will do in the face of an order.
Well, considering all he's done already in obstructing the investigation of the FBI, I wouldn't put it past him if he just took those tapes and burned them or put a magnet to them. I mean, he is the type of person who would do that in a second without any thought about the consequences or the fact that he's committing a serious federal felony. He's already done that. I mean, it'd just be a continuation of what he's already been doing to this point.
David, from my betting is on the side that there are no tapes,
yeah.
and one of the reasons I placed that bet is that President Trump is now saying that James Comey is lying about our conversation. If he knew there were tapes, I'm not sure he would be making those claims because the tapes surely would not back him up.
Right. I want to make first a mathematical aside. I mean, you have the number 100% on the screen. I just want to point out that when President Trump went to the CIA and gave that notorious speech about his big popular vote win, he told the CIA he backed them 1,000%. So there are a lot of percents. 100 isn't all of them. Maybe 1,000 isn't all of them. There are a lot more percents than you're prepared to allow for. And so if he's only giving you 100 of them, that may just be a very small down payment.
Right.
I mean, we have to, when we think about taping, remember, I mean, we are living the iPhone era, so the tape is a metaphor for a recording. As you say, it seems incredibly unlikely that there is a recording. This conversation with Comey took place not in the West Wing, but in the main White House. So either somebody had an iPhone on the table or in a pocket and used a recording device. It's hard to imagine the president himself being able to do that. Or else somebody has worked with the permanent White House staff to install microphones or listening devices in the woodwork of the historic executive mansion. That also doesn't seem very likely.
Peter Baker, shouting broke out today about the tapes when the president gave the non-answer to a very simple yes or no question that he knows the answer to. Can we expect this to be the question that the White House press corps will continue to be aiming in that direction as long as it remains unanswered?
Well, it's hard to imagine us not asking the question again and again. And he said very soon. So you can imagine the next time he takes questions, if he hasn't actually revealed anything at that point, to be asked, well, it's been pretty soon, sir. When are you going to let us know? Of course, in the past, he has said, you know, he was going to reveal things or do things in the near future that ended up not ever happening. It wouldn't be the first time that would happen. But this has greater consequence. And you're right. It does seem like a simple yes or no question. If you didn't have tapes, then the answer today, of course, is no. If you do have tapes, maybe you decide, look, I'll tell you something in the near future because they want to do something with those tapes. They want to negotiate with the special counsel. They want to review them. They want to transcribe them. They want to whatever. So, you know, I tend to agree with you. There's probably not likely to be tapes. It struck me when he first mentioned this, he was sort of trolling Jim Comey as kind of, you know, you don't know. But we don't know, and that's a position he kind of likes keeping people in for the moment.
Peter, any hint from anyone working at the White House about what the president is actually thinking about this tapes game that he's playing, or is the White House staff completely in the dark about whatever it is he's thinking?
I think most of them are as confused as we are. You know, we asked Sarah Huckabee Sanders yesterday, the White House Deputy Press Secretary, about this, and she says, sure, I'll go look under the couches for them. I think that they don't know for sure themselves. And there is a history of Donald Trump as a businessman being said, anyway, to record conversations that he made along the time. So nobody can be 100% sure. As you say, there's a lot of reasons to think it seems unlikely. As David was saying, you know, the various permutations of how this would come about seem pretty far-fetched. But then a lot of things have seemed far-fetched so far in these last 140-some days. So I guess I don't rule anything out.
Let's listen to Donald Trump's talking points that he recited today about why he thinks the Comey hearing went so well for the president. And I say talking points because don't expect sentences here.
No collusion, no obstruction. He's a leaker, but we want to get back to running our great country. We were very, very happy, and frankly, James Comey confirmed a lot of what I said, and some of the things that he said just weren't true.
Nick Ackerman, your reaction to that?
I don't even know where to start with that statement. I mean, first of all, no obstruction. He basically, Comey came out and put in the first leg of the obstruction case, which is that meeting in the Oval Office. That is one of 4 legs of the obstruction case that we have that include the 2 national security people who say that Trump called them and asked them to help stop that investigation, as well as the firing of Mr. Comey. The fact is, we now have under oath the first part of that, and it's pretty well spelled out.
Let me ask you about one element of this, which people are stressing. The fact that the president asked everyone to leave the room, including the FBI director's boss, the Attorney General, leave the room. And Jim Comey testifies that people seemed reluctant to leave the room, that Jeff Sessions hung around hoping he was going to be able to stay in the room, then that others tried to do that. But the president was insistent they all had to leave the room. How incriminating is that in the obstruction of justice investigation?
Extremely incriminating. It all goes to his corrupt intent, which is defined by law as his intent to stop the FBI investigation. It doesn't have to do with bribery. It doesn't have to do what we normally think of as corruption. It's the idea that he specifically intended to have that FBI investigation stopped in its tracks.
David Frum, I want to get your reaction to that, because you're someone who's worked in the White House and you know about the liturgy of these kinds of moments when it happens, when the room is cleared, or why that would be done. What was your reaction to that part of it?
Look, the reason you clear a room is because you're about to talk about something that is sensitive, and there are people who do not have the clearance or the need to know that particular thing. At those moments of drama, you know, you can imagine many things, from domestic, international, where the president wants to talk to people with a very high level of security, and other people who are there are asked to leave. And there's no reluctance then. You understand this isn't for my ears. I don't think I've heard of any incidents in any presidency since the Nixon days where a president asked people to leave in order to do something like this. One other thing the president said, and in that same clip you played, where he accused Jim Comey of having said things that weren't true. Jim Comey was under oath. If they're not true, they're perjury. That's not the first time this president, as president, has accused important people of serious crimes. He's accused President Obama of crimes. He's accused National Security Advisor Rice of crimes. And I know we're all sort of hardened and habituated to, and the president says crazy things and you don't pay attention, but he's the head of state, and he's accusing important people of serious crimes. That must mean something.
We're going to have to break it there. Nick Ackerman, David Frum, Peter Baker, thank you all for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.